Roselli Northern supports upstate New York construction with over 400 employees, 250 trucks, 9 ready-mix plants, 4 blacktop plants, and 40 aggregate mines. But their most important number is your bottom line. Contact them today to see why Roselli Northern has been the choice for contractors and project managers across upstate New York since 1929.
Hey everybody, welcome into Bills Weekly here on FingerLakes1.com. I am Paul Russo. As always, Jim Sinicropi and Kyle Evans are here with me. We'll be recapping the Buffalo Bills Week 1 win at home over the Arizona Cardinals. We'll be previewing Week 2 against the Miami Dolphins in Miami on Thursday night, a short turnaround week for the Bills that saw some stumbling out of the gate, if you will, and but overall prevailing in the end. And Week 1, a win is a win. Kyle, we were kind of talking a little bit about that off air. At the end of the day, for Week 1, you just kind of get the win and move on a little bit and make those adjustments as they come.
Yeah, I mean, it was really bad to start off on both sides. But the thing is, if you look around the league, a lot of teams struggled. You look at the Steelers, they won on 6 field goals. They didn't score a touchdown. And overall, the touchdowns were down around the board. But when the Bills needed Josh Allen took over the game, and that's what they're going to need a lot of this year. We saw the defense in the first half really couldn't get a stop. They did make adjustments at halftime and got a lot better. So overall, a win's a win, but they definitely have adjustments to make because the Cardinals' defense is not what the Dolphins' defense is going to be in 3 nights from now.
Right.
And I agree, the league is crazy. Like, every game's tough unless you're playing the Panthers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Apparently. Or the Browns, I guess, who also looked equally bad yesterday. But it is concerning to see the team come out that flat. And the difference between the Steelers, who won, is the Bills were heavy favorites at home, 6.5 points, I think.
Yep.
They did dig themselves a 17-point deficit early and, have to come storming back. And at the end of the game, Arizona had a chance to steal it, with the Hail Murray. Didn't work this time like it did in the past. But, it's always good to get a win. Next week they need to get another win, 1 week at a time. But it's what we thought. Last week we talked about how every Buffalo win was going to be a shootout. They're going to need to, they won't win a game that they score less than 24 points this year probably.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough for me. So as I'll let the viewers know this. I told you guys I Spectrum went out for me, part of a few people who had outages apparently in the area yesterday. And so I missed the better part of really the first half and everything. And
Well, you didn't miss much in the first half.
Right. And so I had to do some following along, which, as we all know, if you have to kind of, as we call, game cast it on apps, you kind of don't really maybe get the full picture of what fully was going on.
I like pulling up right in those situations, like when Syracuse is playing on the Yes Network and I don't get the Yes Network. I'll throw it on the radio and because is radio kind of a dying way to watch games? I guess when people are in the car.
Yeah.
But even nowadays, you can pull it up on your phone when you're in the car. But I love a good radio broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, I was able to do that for a few minutes while I was in the car trying to do whatever. And I'm always, actually, you want to know what, the Bills radio group is honestly some of my favorite collective groups. I'll give a shout out to them. I've listened to them before, kind of traveling when I'm especially going through Buffalo on a Sunday. By the way, Eric Wood, really good color commentator. He does the radio stuff for them, and he's very good.
Well, and if you are a Bills fan or any fan of any team, that radio crew knows, your franchise and the details and the players, and are able to deliver it in a way that you're obviously not going to hear on CBS with Tony Romo or Tom Brady, who sounded kind of out of place yesterday.
Yeah, somebody called him a nervous rookie. They did like a column on him from the New York Post, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. He seemed nervous, and it was his first game.
Yeah, he was very bland, vanilla, whatever you want to call it.
Like
so.
that's his MO, right?
Yeah. Let's get back into the game element of it here. Cardinals jumped out. They had, like I said, the early advantage here, 7-0 through the first quarter. Get to halftime, they're up 17-10 at that point, and halftime is really where you see the Bills kind of make the adjustments I would say needed to really kind of go out, and that's at least visually where I was able to jump in and watch. And really the third quarter to me was just, and obviously numerically and statistically it was all Buffalo, but it just looked like a completely different team in my mind coming out of the locker room for the second half compared to the first half.
Yeah, you could tell that they definitely made adjustments on the defensive side. They only held the Cardinals to 80 yards, believe it or not, in the second half. And if you take away the 96-yard kickoff return, which is on the special teams, not the defense, they only gave up 4 points or 3 points. So because they went for 2 on the 96-yard kickoff. Right. So yeah, the defense made adjustments. They looked like they were just getting outplayed in the first half. Taron Johnson went down early with an injury, which kind of changed personnel and reshuffled a lot of things, but still inexcusable. They were giving up a lot of third down conversions. I think the Cardinals are 7 for 11, and they just couldn't get him off the field. And Josh Allen, at that 2-minute warning, had 2 passing attempts. Mm-hmm. That's not a good recipe for winning a game, and they totally turned it up a notch in the third quarter. And they scored on 4 of their 5 offensive possessions to kind of, get that lead. But like you said, they let Arizona hang around. And when they kicked that field goal there late, it looked like, man, Arizona's going to win this one 35-34.
Yeah.
They seem too conservative.
It would have just been devastating start to the season for the Bills.
Yeah, Sean loves to do that. He just plays like he can settle for the field goal and it's okay. Let my defense go play. We've seen them get burned in the playoffs doing that.
Right, and this isn't a defensive first team.
Yeah.
It's an offensive first team.
And wasn't it 4th and 4 when they kicked the field goal?
Yeah.
I think Sean said he was only going to go for a 4th and 2.
Yeah.
So
situational, I guess. But you mentioned Johnson getting hurt. How about Cam Lewis stepping in?
Yeah.
Did a good job. And you also mentioned that kickoff return. That's on Tyler Bass. This is the NFL. Kick it out of the end zone with this new kickoff rule. You don't want to give anybody a chance to return kicks. And Bass did it twice.
He kicked one short and they got it out to the 40 was that the final drive?
Yeah, it gave him great starting position. I mean, Tyler Bass made his extra points, made his field goals in a windy situation in Buffalo, but kick it out of the end zone. Like, these are things that cause you to win or lose games. And luckily, they were able to win despite giving them a kickoff return and great starting field position for the final drive.
Yeah, the special teams wasn't really great. I mean, like you said, he made all his field goals and extra points. But if you look at it, that's got to be better. I mean, you can't just hand him 40 yards on a bad kick.
Big mistake. And there's got to be other kickers out there. Like, if Tyler Bass can't get it done, it might be, even though it's in season, it might be time to move on. We can't.
Yeah. He had a bad preseason, too. I don't know if a lot of people paid attention because it's preseason, but he was missing a lot of field goals. People blame him for the Chiefs' loss when he kicked it directly. So, yeah.
Didn't they use Matt Hack for one of the final kickoffs? Or am I just having, whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, I don't remember, but
yeah, no.
I thought it was Bass out there.
Yeah, Tyler Bass.
Okay. I mean, it's always a possibility. I mean, you could roll your putter. I know some teams kind of do that. Other teams don't. I mean, I don't know. It's tough because
he's not even their punter. It's Sam Martin.
I thought Hack was the punter.
No, Sam Martin's been there. This is his second year.
And you're just starting with the ball on a tee, and you're an NFL kicker. You got to do better. You got to do better. That'll come back to burn. It could have burned them yesterday. You look at the schedule for the Bills. You aren't going to be in a position to give many games away if you want to be at the top of the AFC. Thank goodness they were able to secure the win yesterday, and we'll take it 1 week at a time. But to me, even more so than the kind of lackluster performance of the defense in the first half of that game, it was those kickoffs that just really, to me, no excuse for it.
Yeah, I think the kickoff thing is going to be a big, I guess, work in progress across the league for a few teams. I noticed yesterday there was a few teams that got caught with the, I forget what the proper calling of it is, but it's more or less a kickoff violation or whatever it is by going short I mean, it wasn't just a Bills thing specifically yesterday.
I don't like it.
But yeah.
And then, when there was an onside kick, that you got to say it's an onside kick. And I don't know, it just takes some of the fun away. Obviously, there'll be less injuries. And obviously, there still will be kickoff returns. But it just looks strange.
Yeah.
And it'll probably take some getting used to.
It's a very stark contrast to, even watching college ball where it's still the standard, as close to the old school kickoffs as you can have it. So it'll be interesting. I want to circle back, start with that defense, because for as bad as it kind of was in the first half, you only had about 270 total yards in the whole game, and being 146 through the air, 124 on the ground. Definitely probably more on the ground than you'd be willing to give up. But for us, at least last week, kind of wondering how that secondary was going to operate. All things considered, that's a pretty good low number to hold the team passing-wise at 146 passing yards.
The cornerbacks had a good game, I think, overall.
Yep.
Greg Rousseau had a huge game.
Yes, he did.
And Von Miller is back in the statistical box score.
Yeah,
for the
finally.
Bills.
Who?
So there was some bright spots on the defense, relatively unscathed injury-wise. Hopefully, Teron Johnson, I don't know if we've heard a report on how long he's going to be out for.
Nope, nothing yet.
But Cam Lewis, like I said, stepped up. He had 10 tackles.
Yeah, second on the team.
Yeah, so, you'd like to heading into halftime, I was like, man, this is going to be a recurring theme for the Bills as this defense is just, bad. But it's not the story this morning. So the story's more of, the Bills offense. To me, it's the Bills offense and then their inability to close them out at the end when they had them, mainly due to field position issues or special teams and field position.
Yeah. Yeah, one other guy quickly on defense I do want to shout out. We said his name a ton last year, especially as the year went on, but leading tackler was Terrell Bernard again. Just rock steady on defense. He appears to maybe be that guy for the Bills on defense.
Yeah, they need him. He's like their number one now with Matt Milano out. I thought he was really good even last year. He's kind of turned into one of those notable names now. And yeah, I just think the 96-yard kickoff really makes things look a little different.
For sure.
Going for two. I think the defense did really actually play well in the second half, and it sucks that it doesn't really look that way. I think they deserve a little more credit. It wasn't great, though. They do have to make adjustments. The third down conversions can't happen. Like, that worries me Thursday night with, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, Tua to Tyreek Hill, and how far is he going to run?
Oh, my God, yeah. It's going to be a different story next week. Although, different team with Kyler Murray back there. You always got to be worried about what he's going to do with the legs. Tua next week, probably not as much of a threat on the ground. But obviously, so many weapons for Miami. But again, that'll be, I think, a case where the Bills are going to be down in Miami. It's a night game. It's 3 days from now on Thursday. Going to be fun. But it's going to be another situation where the Bills are going to need to score 30 points to win that game. I would guess. I would guess they'll need 30.
Yeah.
Well, what was weird about the Dolphins game, they were down 17-3 to Jacksonville. Travis Etienne fumbles at the goal line.
As he's going in for the touchdown.
Yeah, had he scored, that's 24-3. That's
I
probably
bet
game.
the Jags.
Yeah, that's
Oh, no.
that's probably game. I wasn't overly impressed with the Dolphins, but yeah, they have the weapons. They could easily come and put up 30 on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So you can't just give them a break, but it was a rough kind of start for them, and then they found a way to win, just like the Bills found their way to win.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, the Dolphins had what I can only describe as one of the more chaotic week ones in NFL history, probably. We'll get more on that, though, in a minute. Josh Allen, we kind of mentioned a little bit before, 18 of 23, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, rushed for 9 times, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did have a fumble loss, but a 90.1 QBR. Kind of funny post-game, talked about how he knows he needs to kind of maybe be smarter with his body, and we all kind of know that's probably not going to be the case.
And that's not. And remember, beginning of last year when they were protecting him a little, and he was being more conservative. They were terrible.
Yeah, I don't want him to really do that. I like how he played yesterday. They wouldn't have won that game had he not ran the way he did.
Yeah.
Right.
He jumped over the linebacker into the end zone. Like, that's just Josh Allen. He's going to do what he does. He pretends like it's a backyard football game.
And he's proven in the past that if he does get dinged up, he's still going to suit up and play and be able to deliver.
Yeah, his left hand is heavily wrapped. He actually hurt his left hand, but it's his non-throwing hand, so he's still going to play.
Right.
And he did get an X-ray after the game, and he's having more imaging today. And even if it is like a torn something or a broken bone, he's still going to play.
Yep.
Speaking of rushing, although he didn't get into the end zone, James Cook, 19 carries for 71 yards, also chipped in 3 times through the air for 42 yards. Pretty good game on the ground for him, all things considered.
I felt like the first half, the Bills were really trying to commit to the run a little too much. And then you do want to see him run the ball. It just seemed like they were just trying to force the issue and just like open it up a little bit, guys, here.
Yeah, notice they started scoring and putting up points when they threw the ball. It's like how it was with Ken Dorsey. They struggled on offense, and then they started to throw the ball more, and they got more productive. And, yeah, they ended up with more rushes than they did pass attempts. I mean, think about it. Josh Allen only had 23 passing attempts.
Yeah, it's silly.
I mean, at least a 30 mark for him every game.
And I don't know why they thought they had to, assert themselves on the ground. But once they just opened it up a little bit, that's when they started scoring at will, really.
And they didn't even use all their receivers. I mean, where was Dalton Kincaid?
Yeah, so that was
shocking.
what I was going to bring up was we saw Coleman get very involved. He was technically through the air, their leading receiver yardage-wise as well as reception-wise. He didn't have a touchdown. Those went to Shakir and Mac Hollins, but Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid only 1 reception each. And although I would prefer to have Kincaid be your main tight end option through the air, as I think a lot of people would, I just don't see that as acceptable for those tight ends to only have 1 reception
And
each.
it's partly due to the lack of passing attempts. If you're going to have that few passing attempts, there's going to be less to go around. The receiving core for the Bills look great. Mac Hollins looks like he's here to stay, to be a legitimate threat each week. Maybe even in fantasy circles. Shakir, doing what he does. Making
Yards after catch.
Yeah, 2 plays where it looked like, including the touchdown, where it looked like he was dead to rights. He picks up an extra, couple yards just through the effort. The rookie, Keon Coleman, had a great play on a deep ball where he was getting interfered with, and he still came down with the ball. And that's what you want to see. Last week, I think I talked about how the one thing the Bills' offense might be missing is that elite wide receiver 1, and hopefully it would be Keon Coleman. And, he's not there yet, but what I saw yesterday is he could be that guy. But they got to treat him like that a little bit, too. They got to throw him the ball, 7-8 times at least in a game.
Yeah, he was the leading receiver with 4 catches. I mean, that says it all right there.
Yeah. So a lot of it is similar to last year, honestly, when we were talking about this offense and the way Josh Allen just managed and, the run versus pass and, it's the whole second half of the season. Stephon Diggs never saw the ball. So a lot of similarities. But last year, as we were heading towards the middle of the season, they were on the outside of the playoffs looking in. Hopefully this year they can operate from a more, advantageous position in the standings in the AFC and the AFC East standings by winning Thursday night against Miami, starting out 2-0, because then they get Jacksonville at home, and then they go on the road for 3 tough games: Baltimore, Houston, and the Jets. So.
Yeah, 3 of their next 5 are on the road, and 4 of their next 5 are at night, I believe. So it's going to be...
Yep, Thursday night. Then they play Monday Night Football, 7:30.
Yeah, it's a doubleheader. They're doing a Monday night doubleheader.
Yep, but that's cool for the fans at Highmark. An early Monday Night Football game so they can get home in time,
True.
a
little earlier
the next day. And then they follow that up with Sunday night game at Baltimore. And then after playing at Houston on Sunday at 1, they got another Monday night game at New York. The Jets, 8:15 start. So, that's a interesting schedule.
Yeah, plus 1 West Coast trip at the tail end of that. Makes it tough. But, Keon Coleman, I just wanted to look it up quick, too. Coleman had 5 targets, led at least there as well. But, yeah, I mean, going through it, Shakir and James Cook each had 3, but everybody else had 2 or 1. So, yeah, I mean, I think you'll hopefully see as this season gets going here, Joe Brady kind of go back to what they really went to towards the tail end of last year, get those attempted passes up for Josh to that 30 mark or as close as he can to it, because you're probably going to need it. That's for sure.
One thing to take away from watching all the NFL games last year that sometimes you forget during the off season or is like this league is ridiculously difficult to coach in.
Yeah.
I mean, every single week, I don't care who you're playing, unless it's Carolina. You could lose that game, and there's just all the schemes and looks and game plans that opposing coaching staffs are throwing at you, and to see so many games come down yesterday to the final 5 minutes, it's relentless, and so. Great win for the Bills. It would have been a devastating loss, but they're 1-0, and then hopefully, I think at Miami, I think even against Jacksonville, all these games, they're going to come down to the end, and that's one reason you see the Kansas City Chiefs continuously have success is because they know how to win games down the stretch, and I think Josh Allen knows how to win games down the stretch. So, good vibes, I guess, after week 1 getting that win, and now Bills fans only have to wait a couple days to see him again.
Yeah, hey, speaking of coming down the stretch, I actually have a stat. So the Bills actually broke an NFL record yesterday. They have not lost by more than 6 points in 42 consecutive games.
That's incredible.
So you look at a lot of those games, though, you're right. They aren't closing them out. Sometimes they're on the wrong side of them because they give up those late.
Last year they gave them away.
Yep.
And like I said, I feel like Josh Allen, knows how to win those games if the coaching staff can figure out a way. Again, I keep bringing up the Chiefs because they win the Super Bowls, and that means they win these big games late. And a lot of their wins that have led to those Super Bowls have been like a coin toss coming down to the last 2 minutes.
Look at last Thursday night with them.
Yeah, it's just another one, but they win.
Correct.
The guy's toes on the line. I don't know if you can coach that, but whatever it is that allows you to grasp victory from the claws of defeat or to preserve victory late in the game, that's the difference between winning and losing in this league. It's not necessarily having a good game plan for the first 2 drives of the game.
Right.
I mean, even last night, Rams Detroit back and forth. Detroit looks like they have it won. Next thing you know, the Rams are back. It's a crazy, crazy league. Yeah. Highly entertaining. I don't know how you can sleep at night if you're a coach in this league.
I don't think you fully can. Copycat league type thing as well. I think before we get to this week 2 matchup, I think I saw something pretty interesting how like the Rams last year had the most pistol formations in the league. Something like they were in the pistol like 60% of the time or something. And through the math yesterday, like pistol was up across the league formation wise, and I don't think the Rams really were in pistol at all last night, for example. So, it's just stuff like that where one team does it, everybody's going to try and sniff around and figure out a way that they can do it. So,
and the team that originally did it now has moved on to something else.
Correct. Yeah. Football, NFL football, everybody. All right. Week 2, we've already talked a little bit about it. Thursday night football on Prime Video. Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. Dolphins 1-0, defeating the Jaguars 22-17. You're looking at what I call classic South Florida type weather day down there for the game. Cloudy, turning to thunderstorms, back to cloudy by game time. High of 80 when it kicks off. Winds light and variable.
Luckily at night, so it's not 100 degrees.
It's true.
Fun fact, that was their last loss to the Dolphins, that 100-degree weather day in 2021 in September when they lost 21-19. They've absolutely dominated the Dolphins since Josh Allen's been there, and even, I think, the year before.
And they got the big win last year to secure their postseason.
And they beat them 48-20 at Highmark, remember, earlier in the year, too, as well.
Really
they own the Dolphins, really.
I'm a little concerned about this game Thursday night, though.
Yeah. We'll get into that here in a second. Bills, if you're the betting people out there, currently sit at a 1.5 underdog. Money line of plus 105, so pretty much in a pick'em type situation there, over under a 50.5. So we mentioned it wasn't exactly a great game for the Dolphins. They were able to amp it up. Tua Tagovailoa, 23 for 37, 338 yards through the air and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill, leading receiver, 7 receptions for 130 yards and a touchdown. On the ground, bit of a tougher situation. Jeff Wilson Jr. was their leading rusher, 5 carries and 26 yards. Their defense, 162 yards through the air and 128 allowed on the ground. So kind of similar to the Bills, a little bit more given up there on that side of the ball. But we mentioned, obviously, the Dolphins have a lot of weapons on offense. So I would expect probably a little bit better, at least in theory, on the ground for them. Excuse me. But overall, they really amped it up when they needed to amp it up. And those guys that we were used to seeing for the Dolphins showed up in week 1. And I probably would expect them to show up in this game as well.
It's going to be, going to have to score more points than they do because I don't see us, holding Tyreek Hill in check for the whole game. I think the A-chain will probably establish a little more consistency on the running game. I don't think it'll be Jeff Wilson that we got to worry about Thursday night. Again, we're going to score. Can we stop them from scoring, and can we outscore them, going into the fourth quarter? I think they're going to need 30 points to win the game. I think they're going to need more than 30 points to win the game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to agree with you. I think they definitely can't fall behind the way they did against Arizona. But for some reason, I won't spoil my prediction yet. I think the Bills win this game.
Yeah, well, I mean, they own the Dolphins, like you said.
Because even when the Dolphins' offense was clicking last year, I mean, I think it was week 4, week 5, they beat them 48-20, and they held Tyreek Hill to like 3 catches. I know it's a completely different defense, but even you can go back a couple years ago, they don't really give up a ton to Tyreek Hill for some reason. They play him so he only gets stuff in front of them. They don't let him beat him deep. Like Tyreek had an 80-yard touchdown yesterday.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Ran down the sideline, it's crazy
Yeah,
as speed.
Cheetah after being arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're right, though. I think at least 30 to beat him.
Yeah, and it's you think, okay, it's probably good for the Bills that Miami pulled out the win against Jacksonville. I mean, it's good for the Bills going into this Thursday night game because I think the Dolphins might have been a little, I don't know, more frustratedly hungry after dropping that game to Jacksonville come Thursday. But, that was a chance for all 3 AFC East teams that played yesterday won, and the Jets played tonight against San Francisco. Yeah. But, if Jacksonville holds on to that win, they had the win. If ETN scores that touchdown, it's game over. Dolphins are 0-1, and the Bills are tied atop the division with the Patriots.
Of all people.
Who beat, Cincinnati pretty bad yesterday. Yeah. So,
speaking of ugly games,
Cincinnati was 8.5-point favorites as well.
Yeah,
a lot of survivor pools hit the dust yesterday on that one. Yeah. I bet the Patriots.
Ooh, look at you!
Really?
Look. A lot of times in the NFL, I will look at the biggest spread, 8.5, and I'll take the underdog in any NFL games.
Yeah,
because they just.
What about the Panthers this week?
What do you think the line will be on the Panthers? I don't even know who they play, but
I would need to look that up.
But they were absolutely awful. Made Derek Carr look like Jim Plunkett.
Derek Carr ain't that bad though.
Huh? No, I know Derek Carr's fine, but
Oh, they get the Chargers in Carolina.
Oh, good pull. Well, I think the Chargers will be 2-0.
It says
probably.
It says the Chargers are 5-point favorites.
That's it.
Yeah, they got to come out. West Coast team coming east. Usually is a couple points, and the Chargers didn't look like world.
Oh yeah, on DraftKings it's -5.5, and the over/under's 39.5. I think the Chargers might put up 30 themselves.
Right.
Big Ten football taking over the NFL. That's what that tells me. Yeah, I guess I will kind of be the Debbie Downer then out of us, the vibe I'm getting. But short turnaround game. I know it's for both teams, but Thursday Night Football is like stupid in this sense, and I just get the vibe that look, you gotta get out of these. You gotta get in these games. You gotta get out of the gate strong. And I know neither one of these teams really did it, but I just think a little bit of a quote unquote home field advantage for the
That
Dolphins.
doesn't exist in this series.
Well,
Bills have won 3 of the last 4, and they're 11-2 since Josh Allen's been the
That's a
starter.
lot. That's
11-2.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. If there's one team in the NFL, the Bills have the number.
Yeah, Miami doesn't exist with them.
I think it's going to be 11-3. I don't think the Bills get it quite done. I think they lose 24-17 on Thursday night.
Well,
That's too low scoring too. I
yeah,
think.
my prediction is Bills 36, Dolphins 28.
Wow, almost. I put mine last night. I had Bills 33, Dolphins 27.
Yeah, so we both are seeing the same thing, a high-scoring
Shootout.
shootout that the Bills prevail in because the Bills beat the Dolphins. And
Yeah, they find a way, even in their kind of down years. I mean, think of 2018; they were still beating the Dolphins.
yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yeah,
Six seasons ago.
Josh Allen's first full season as a starter. Yeah, because 2017 he was a rookie, I believe. Yeah. Pretty
Yeah, I
sure
mean,
he
it's
got those.
something that I'm sure frustrates the heck out of Dolphins fans. And
Because they were a good team last year, and they lost both to the Bills.
well, if you could argue that, heading down the stretch of the season last year, the Bills or Dolphins could have been interchangeable. Like if the Dolphins win against the Bills, maybe they go on to, make a playoff run. But the Bills kind of prevented that from happening.
And how about this? Or how about this? If the Jets win tonight, the AFC East will be the only division to have every winner start 1-0, or every division.
Big F at San Francisco, but yeah, that would be not great for the Bills. It's almost like you didn't accomplish anything. In week one, you're still tied with 3 other teams.
That's basically like 0-0 again because you're not ahead. No one's ahead.
I mean, even if the Jets lose tonight, this is a big. It's a huge week 2 game, frankly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because
it's
you got to assume New England's going to lose
Correct.
probably next week, or New England's not going to isn't a playoff team.
Yeah, they get the Seahawks.
yeah.
And the Jets are the big wild card in the division. Assuming Rodgers stays healthy, they should be as good as any team. In the AFC almost. And then you got the Dolphins and the Bills. It's a tough division.
You might get crushed tonight by that 49ers defensive line.
Yeah, well, wouldn't it be something if Rodgers took that first snap and went down with a knee
He's
injury?
definitely going to get hit at some point tonight. So we'll see how he responds. But a lot of people are so high on the Jets. I keep seeing all over like they're betting them tonight. And it's like, are they just going to come out and just be unstoppable? I don't think so. The Niners
I
are
don't.
good.
Yeah, the Niners are better than the
And it's
Jets,
in
even
San
with
Fran.
Aaron Rodgers, right? But yeah, if the Jets are able to stay healthy on paper, they're as good as anybody.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. I mean this. You got the tiebreakers. I think will be beyond key in this division this year. And we kind of almost saw it even last year where they almost didn't need them in this division. And I hope that the Bills win. I don't know if I see it happening. That's my issue with it. But that's why you go out and that's why you play the game. And frankly, when we reconvene next Monday to discuss it, I hope I eat crow, as I always say when I look at the negative side of it here. I hope that it's the opposite. I come here and I have to say I'm wrong. So, and Kyle over there smirking like he is, I know he's hoping the same thing.
Well, I remember how your betting went last week. So I'm hoping.
You should look at it this week then, buddy. We back.
I don't think I did too good this week in our betting pod bets, but I did do pretty good yesterday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that bad luck follows you for this one.
Well, you praying for my downfall didn't go well because I went 2 for 3 this week in betting. So
So you sounds like you might be taking the Dolphins in the under.
yeah, I just look.
That's wild.
Thursday games are just so freaking stupid. Well, I'll put it to you this way: I'm not betting this game. Period. In actuality, really, I'm just saying Thursday games are stupid. Stuff happens. They are the NFL's.
Is it on Amazon Prime?
It is.
Yeah.
Well, and for those who maybe don't have Prime, I do have a way out for you. as far as I know, they're doing it the same way this year as they did last year. If you have a Twitch account, which is a streaming platform, you can watch it for free anyway.
Oh, wow.
So that's how I watch Thursday night games. It's a pretty easy out, and it's free to sign up on Twitch. If you don't know, just go ahead and Google Twitch. I think it's twitch.co or something like that anyway, but
Not hard to find.
no, it's not. And
Twitch.
like I said, all you have to do is just sign up on their platform and get to watch it for free. So
And I'm without ESPN because I'm a DirecTV customer, and they're all out. All the
yeah, that's true.
So I
kidding me?
downloaded late last night. Fubo TV got a free 1-week trial, so I can watch tonight's game, and then I got to figure out what to do next week for the Bills Jags game, and then actually the Monday night doubleheader. But yeah, they it's been a week now, or actually I think 8 days now. Even ACC Network, I went to go watch the Syracuse game on Saturday, and that's out. I'm like, oh my god.
That's brutal. I got my advice to everyone is YouTube TV.
yeah.
First of all, you get Red Zone for free on there, which is basically what I do on Sundays. I just leave Red Zone on all day.
Did you watch the Brazil game on Peacock?
I didn't. I was out. I wasn't home. I didn't watch 1 second of that
Shootout.
game. I followed it on my phone, and it looked like a really entertaining game. But yeah, I wouldn't have gotten Peacock on YouTube TV.
Right. Did
But
you make chili yesterday, or
no, I made some tuna and like a tuna steak and some rice and
like
some
that.
broccolini. Yeah, I try to keep it healthy early in the season.
that's fair.
Usually I don't make a lot of chili. When I do, it's vegetarian because my wife doesn't eat meat, so that's why I don't make a lot of chili. I usually Sundays for sauce and spaghetti and maybe some greens and beans.
I was about to say we strayed a little bit further away from what we did, even though now we're completely off topic. We did ravioli last night
Oh, nice.
as opposed to we usually do ziti. We're a big ziti household, so
Yeah, well, I'm kind of waiting until October, I think, before I start, doing the serious Sunday cooking. But because I played golf Sunday morning, and it was great.
yeah, I was about to say it did end up being a really nice morning. I know, like when I walked out of the house, I play basketball on Sunday mornings, and I walked out of the house, I'm like, I don't really need the pullover like I thought I did. And,
I got back home probably about a quarter after 12, and I was so excited for football. And it's just one of those things. It's definitely America's game as much as you guys are baseball fans. Baseball seems to be a localized game.
Jim, I know what you're talking about. I'm a big Syracuse football guy, obviously, here. It's our time.
Well, that's something we didn't talk about either, but great start for the Orange.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like, 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah, the red zone layout was perfect too. The 8-4.
Yep.
But now this week, guess what this is? 10-3.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I don't either.
Just we need more 4 o'clock hour games.
Yeah. I mean, that's especially sometimes I can't get in front of the TV by 1 o'clock because I'm mowing the lawn or doing something, but I'm always by 4 o'clock, I'm always settled in, But what I did yesterday was I watched all the 1 o'clock games till they ended, and then I did the cooking during the 4 o'clock first half, and then ate dinner, during the second half of the 4 o'clock games, and then you settle in for Sunday night football. I mean, it's just a fantastic thing for sports fans.
Yep. Works out pretty well, I'd say. So I think we'll get out of there on that note. Good win for the Bills. A win is a win, and they look to improve to 2-0 on Thursday night against the Dolphins. Thanks, everybody, for listening and watching. You can find Bills Weekly here on fingerlakes1.com. The F1 YouTube channel and all major podcast platforms, including Spotify and Amazon Music. We'll be back again next Monday at 10 a.m. Let's go, Buffalo.
Yeah.